Hold on, stop. Welcome back to the Shit Show 2.0.
Okay, Boomer.
Damn millennials. Wow.
Did not know that. Even flirters who are obviously mentally ill.
Oh, this is gonna go downhill real quick.
What is going on? And welcome to Take on the World with
Yours truly, Johnny, and the new and improved man cave.
and Mike D. We made a few changes in here. Parked the TARDIS and got some more room for some beer cans because we've been reviewing them beers.
For the reviews.
We still have our 1933 door from the jail.
Yeah, that thing is awesome.
It's heavy. I had to move it. So,
You moved that by yourself?
yes. I'm a beast, dude. I'm a beast.
I know that.
So,
Literally.
did you want to move your...
It's on your arm.
True. Did you want to move your snacks out of the way?
Yeah, I thought they were. Hold on. Pardon me. Is that good?
Yep. So, John came up with a decent topic for today, which I actually enjoyed researching.
I can't believe you never heard of this.
You know, you're just more worldly than me.
I guess so.
So, in honor of this, oh, we got something we got to talk about.
What'd I do?
Oh no, don't you remember the McDonald's ice cream conspiracy?
Ah, shit, yeah. Yeah, okay.
In a previous episode, we spoke briefly about the McDonald's ice cream machine conspiracy on how they're always not working and
There was like, you pulled up this whole thing.
yeah,
There was like
McBroken.
It was like 20% of all McDonald's ice cream machines were out of order.
And there was all kinds of conspiracy theories. Well,
Yeah, so we're like, you know what? Screw it. Let's go. I want a Frosty from Wendy's.
and the whole point was that the people from Frosty or from Wendy's would always say, "Oh no, our ice cream machine works."
You know what?
It's only McDonald's that breaks.
I even said that on the podcast. I was like, you know what? I've always gone to Wendy's. Never had a problem.
Right.
Never once.
You should have knocked on wood because
We had a problem. And first off, we pull around. There's like 20 people in line. And I'm like, there was like this big box truck. And I'm like, what the hell is this guy ordering? Is he ordering like...
he filled his box truck.
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck? You should like order like a burger and a sandwich or something for your kids.
It took him like literally 10 minutes to put his order in.
I was annoyed right there. So then we finally get through the thing, up to order. You were being a dick at this point.
What?
He's like, I forget what the guy said. He's like, can I help you? Or, oh shit, what do you, and I was like, Mike, stop here. I can fucking spit in our food. So
I forget what I said.
a small fry and 2 Frosties. Okay? We pull around. It was $7.11.
Yep.
I remember that for some reason. Because you're like, well, what did she say? I said $7.11. And we can hear the manager back there. There's a cocoa powder laying on the table. And he cuts it up and he starts pouring it in the machine. He's like, oh, this thing's not going to be ready for another 20 minutes. So we can hear them bickering back and forth about how the Frosty machine's not ready. And we're like, I said to Mike, I said, at what point are they going to tell us that the thing's not working?
Yeah, I know.
And we're just sitting there. We're like,
The manager must have said, it's not going to be ready for at least 10 minutes, like 4 or 5 times.
4 or 5 times.
But never said it does.
And I looked at Mike, I said, is there a line behind this? And you like, yeah, there's like 8 people behind us. And I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, so I think it was like 10 minutes after us waiting, the girl comes to it wasn't even the same girl. It's a different girl. She's like, Frosty machine's not ready. I want you want a vanilla one. And you're like, I want a refund. And you thought like the galaxy exploded.
Right.
Like this woman
Yeah,
could
just
not.
give my money back. It's cool.
they could not comprehend like what a refund was.
Well, hold on. For me, just to say, we'll just take our money back and be cool about it. Like at that point, after waiting all that time,
Yeah,
she should have said, "Oh, I'm so glad you're not pissed off, Mr. Zellner."
right. So after like 20 minutes. After another like 2-3 minutes of fumbling around, the manager fishes a $5 bill out of his pocket
with lint on it.
With lint on it, gives it to Mike, and he's like, "That's it, that's it." So we drove away, and you're eating the cold ass mushy fries.
Oh, they were not finished. They were not done.
Oh, I hate that. And I said, "Bro, why you keep eating them?" He's like, "I don't know. I like the salt." And then you finally you throw them away. Then you throw them away like, "Oh, guys, we're going to Cold Stone." And then we totally blew our diets going to Cold Stone.
Well, we were blowing it, getting a fucking Frosty. At least there was protein in the Frosty.
10 grams.
Yeah, that's not bad for a dessert. Anyway,
10 grams of protein in that fucking coffee culotta, fucking sugar cake. What the hell? There
was 300 grams of fucking sugar in that.
But
it was good.
We were saying, I was like, dude, this is what we get for making fun of McDonald's. Like, we don't get this fucking Frosty, we're going to McDonald's.
So we have had a series of, every time we do a podcast, something will come up in the news, even before it's even posted. So we did a podcast on Kurt Cobain.
Yeah, what? Weird.
And then 2 days later, it was like Tuesday, Lexi sends me this article from some magazine about Kurt Cobain, and his death. And I'm like, the government is listening to us.
Awkward.
This is the first time it's happened.
No, never. What I find is weird is, okay, I get the cookies. When you search something, like when I bought these Ultima shoes, then you go on Facebook and it's pops up like boots.
Yeah.
Different boot companies. But when you talk about something and then it pops up on your Facebook feed, you're like,
that's a little weird.
Do you have an Alexa? Because I kind of feel like she's spying on you.
We don't. I don't have one in this house.
Yeah, well.
I have a Bixby on my phone, though.
Hello. I don't know what Ultima is. It's condensation.
I still want to do a review of my 1.5-year-old Ultima sneakers because I hate watching reviews and they do something brand new. They just pull it out of the box. Frankly, I think unboxings are ridiculous. But they pull it up brand new out of the box and say, "Yeah, these are great sneakers." How do you know? You didn't even have them on your feet yet. But I've been wearing them a little bit. I've been wearing them kicks for 1.5 years, almost every day, and I love them.
Yeah, I love mine so far. The only thing I don't like is when you walk across the hard surface, it kind of clicks a little bit.
The only thing I didn't like is, and it's there for a reason, the rubber insole.
I don't mind that because my feet sweat like bitches.
When I take my feet in and out, it always slides.
Yeah, mine started doing that.
Yeah.
When I take them off, I have this spray now. So it doesn't you spray it on like
stinky feet.
Yeah, like you can spray it on gym clothes, your gym bag.
It's like Febreze.
No, it's like some kind of
Febreze for
clear spray shit. Whatever you
think. Poopery.
Poopery. I slathered some poopery all over my shoes when I'm wearing them.
So, but yeah, I love those sneakers. So the topic today is the Whiskey Rebellion. And since we were doing the Whiskey Rebellion,
it just so happens
I have a very good friend who got me some S'mores whiskey.
That's right. You heard it. S'mores whiskey.
Whiskey. So we're going to do a little whiskey review quick. And then we'll get into the topic.
You want to run it down with you're going to do the whole review?
I did not pull up any of the information on this.
Oh, Mike, I can't believe I'm friends with this guy.
Well, the review was kind of a last-minute thing.
All right, well, let's just wing it.
Well, let me see what I can pull up.
Grab the bottle. We can read. I'll do my read.
Oh, you do your read.
I'll do my read.
Okay. So, preface this by we've both had this. I was very excited when John sent me the text message and said, "Hey, look what I got."
Yeah, this was just I went down for Mother's Day to visit my mom, and we went to brew company Victory. And I'm walking towards the back, and they're like their shop where you can buy like T-shirts, hats, and all whatnot. And they have a big separate room of Southern Tier whiskey and bourbon. They also make vodka and gin. And I was like, oh! Now I know because my sister loves. They make a pumpkin whiskey, but we could never find it. I was always told you had to go to New York to get it. And there it was.
That is not so.
There it was.
You can go to Coatesville.
Yeah, there it was. And she's like, "Oh my God, I got it." You know, you go talk to the guy. He brings you in there and gives you the rundown on all this stuff. Cool guy. And she goes, "I'm surprised you're not getting anything, John." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, because I don't really take a sip of whiskey. I'll drink the whole fucking thing." You know what I mean? I said, so it's just, and that's what I texted you. I'm like, yo, this one, you want to,
and I had to have this.
Yeah.
Like the pumpkin, okay, that is one of the pumpkin beers that I do like, but I don't know if I'd like it in a whiskey. I'm not a pumpkin spice everything kind of person.
Yeah, but, basic bitch.
But fucking s'mores.
Yeah. I was surprised. I was like, okay, this is going to be all syrupy and hold on, we'll chew into that.
All right,
that's the backstory of how we found it, or I found it, and then I hooked Mike up, and then we're eventually probably going to go down there and just
be stupid.
Yeah, be stupid. And the food, dude, their food was awesome.
I'm pretty sure I've been there before.
Their food was on point. My sister got brisket nachos, or like some kind of nachos, but the nachos were like hand cut and deep fried fresh. You could tell they weren't just like store bought from a bag. I just got a plain burger. Awesome. Burger was awesome. My mommy got like some kind of salad with like a grilled piece of salmon. Awesome. So, highly recommended.
So, where is Southern Tier Distillery?
Southern Tier.
It's on the other side.
Distillery.
There you go.
That's in Lakewood, New York. I feel like that's like in the middle of nowhere.
I don't know.
Lakewood, New York. So Lakewood is probably northern New York. You start talking about all the lakes.
Oh, no, Southern New York.
Okay, that's western.
Oh, that's not far from Bradford. That's where I was up doing bridges.
So that's like out there.
Bradford. Oh, that's a 4-hour drive from here.
Yeah.
So it's not far from Jamestown, New York. Right off of I-86.
That's a nice lake there.
It does look a nice lake. Could do some fishing there. That would be a road trip, bro. We got a little road trip coming up soon.
Hell yeah. We'll hunt down the Mothman.
We're gonna...
I can smell this from here.
I can too.
It smells like a fucking graham cracker.
Oh, what proof is this?
35.
Do your bottle read, bro.
Well, you're throwing me off because you usually do the thing before I do the bottle read.
Yeah, but I don't have any information, so...
All right, so Southern Tier Distilling Company, S'mores Whiskey. 70 proof, which is 35% alcohol. So it's your normal like bottle of vodka is 40%. They do have stuff there that's like 100%, but it's like 50
100 proof.
100 proof. That's like probably 50, 60 bottle.
Yeah, $60 a bottle.
So here's the description: campfire done right. Absolutely.
Yep.
Uh,
Agree to agree.
as a distillery with deep roots in brewing, we couldn't help but be attracted to the big, bold flavors that Blackwater Series made across the road at the Southern Tier Brewing Company. Prominent notes of milk chocolate, marshmallow sweetness, and crisp graham cracker make s'mores whiskey an adult take on the fireside favorite, just without the gooey mess. I, I think they nailed that right on the head.
Well, let's have a little taste.
So, like I said, like right away, I get like graham cracker.
I smell graham cracker.
Marshmallow.
Like it's a little bit of chocolate, just like a faint chocolate. But graham cracker
is like punch you right in the face.
Graham cracker is the star of the show here. Okay. There's no burn, and I don't get the graham cracker right away. What I get is marshmallow and chocolate, and then as it sits there, the graham cracker it just floats across the tongue. Yeah.
You get like whiskey at the beginning, chocolate, marshmallow, graham cracker.
Yep, exactly. And it's done. It's done well. Like, bravo.
Yeah.
If there's probably a
now. See, the first time I tasted this, I didn't have a cold. We had it straight from the bottle,
and it was good like that too.
Oh yeah.
I like ice in mine.
But I'm kind of like 110, 120. I don't know. Like
110, 120. But like as I'm sitting here now, I had a sip a couple 5-10 seconds ago, and the graham cracker is just lingering.
Yeah. Now I'm not
I get marshmallow too.
I'm not a big whiskey guy.
I love whiskey.
I typically don't like whiskey.
I do.
But for me, I get like that punch of like strong whiskey, and you're like,
But it's not a burn whiskey. It's just
no, not at all. No, I don't know.
I will tell you, Deb liked this, and she does not like strong whiskey. She doesn't like.
Now I don't know why. Like, what is it with like the flavored whiskeys or flavored booze are always 35 proof?
It's when they do the mix with this. If we get the moonshine up here, it's a sugar wash moonshine, and they make it all before they flavor it 90 proof, and then it's 45 proof when they mix it.
Okay.
Like everything comes out of their 45 proof, every one of their mixed ones. How you like that round ice cube?
It's not so round anymore.
No.
It's got cavities and holes in it now.
I enjoy that.
Just like I said, I love those drinks that have that, like, I'm going to give it like the 4 to 5 tier flavor changes.
Okay.
So you get, like we said, we get whiskey, chocolate, s'mores, graham cracker. The what the hell's that beer that I just got?
Smashmouth.
Well, yeah, that one too. But the one I just bought today.
Age Right Theory.
Yeah, you can taste like all the ingredients, and that's what makes it so fucking good.
Yeah, you know what? And that is we have 2 of them up here, and we have 2 more that we're going to do tastings of.
Yeah.
And there's not been one that we've got from them that we didn't like.
Right.
And it's weird because that brewery's nowhere near here. Well, it's Virginia.
We might have to go make a trip.
That one would be worth it.
Yeah.
That'd be a trip and an overnight.
But yeah, it's like I remember watching the show as I had Gordon Ramsay on there, and he's like, "Oh, just looking for simple rustic Italian," and he eats it. He's like, "Oh, perfect." It's so simple. He's like, you can taste every single flavor.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what you get with like some of these, like Southern Tier s'mores whiskey.
I'd be interested now since I had this. I'm actually interested in tasting the pumpkin.
Yeah, I've had the pumpkin beer.
Right. Because if it's done as well as this, I'll enjoy it.
I think it is. This is the second. I've had their bourbon and their whiskey, and the bourbon. I'm telling you, the bourbon was so smooth. Like I'm not like a big bourbon guy. Like I know what I'm talking about.
I love bourbon. Oh, there's my in honor of this episode we're doing. I have my autographed Jesse James bourbon hat, autographed by Jesse James Dupree of Jackal.
I'm not sure if I like it better with ice in it or not.
I like the ice, but then what I do is I let the ice melt down, and then I drink the water, and you still get the flavor in it.
Yeah.
Here, when I like usually I'll pour like that, and I could sip on that for an hour or two.
Really?
If I don't, I get in trouble.
Okay, I understand.
When I choose not to sip my whiskey, it usually ends up with trouble. So we'll leave it at that. So we'll go from that, which, okay, thumbs up, 5-star, love it.
5-star?
Yeah.
You know, which is funny too, like, I've never really seen that many flavored whiskeys. Not that they're not out there, I just don't know about them. Like, I've never...
Oh, there's a bunch. Like, we get Red Stag, which is a cherry flavored. Deb likes that. I like that. But there's some of them aren't done right. Like, I had another cherry flavored whiskey, and it tasted like cough syrup.
No good.
And I drank it because you pay good money for it.
Right.
I didn't enjoy it.
I say, like, Red Stag's not...
I drank it when I had a cold.
I so happen to have a cold for like 6 months straight.
Oh, ain't no bottle of whiskey last 6 months here. As you can see. So we'll go back to our regularly scheduled topic, but back to the birth of this nation.
Do you want a little tiny just for a nod to the topic?
Oh, you want a little more?
No, the other one.
Oh, I didn't finish mine yet.
All right, we'll finish yours.
I can't mix salted caramel.
Well, no.
The other one is salted caramel crown, which I enjoy. You may not like it.
Yeah, I may not. I found, you know what I really do like? I like gin. I didn't think I would like gin.
Oh, I like good gin. I don't like cheap gin.
Yeah, like the Bombay gin is good.
There's not much left in here.
Now it's gonna have little hints of s'mores in it. S'more caramel.
Now my other friend, Goldie, she goes and she'll buy like 2 cases of this when it comes out. She loves it. And she'll always make sure that I can buy.
I don't think I've ever had Crown.
She'll make sure I can buy one from her. So I appreciate that, my friend Goldie.
That smells fucking good.
You smell caramel in it.
Yeah. All right, well.
Okay. So take a second, subscribe, hit the thumbs up. If you want to hit the notification bell, you go ahead and do that. If not, I'm okay with that. But if you subscribe and hit the thumbs up, that helps us out a lot. If you're listening to us on iTunes, give us a like and leave a review. If you think we suck, tell us we suck, but make it a 5-star you suck. Because that's the only thing that helps. We're back. So,
and we're fat.
Yeah.
In case you haven't noticed.
Before we get on to that topic, we'll have another sidebar because I know how much everybody loves when we sidebar. We got our
first piece of fan mail.
Woohoo! So,
what's his name?
H.M. Murdoch, dude. It's a spoof. Howling Mad Murdoch. 18.
Oh, okay. Was not one of your friends?
Don't know.
Anyways.
I don't know the email.
You want to read it?
It's a live.com email. So, Howling Mad Murdoch says, listening to the Kurt Cobain episode, I loved it. Here are some quick notes I thought you may appreciate. Lexi singing, don't go changing waterfalls, thumbs up.
I thought I brought that TLC up.
You did.
Anyways.
And then she sang it.
Yeah.
Mike D singing Blue Christmas needs work. Well, F you, HM. John with Gangster's Paradise, awesome pick. I agree, awesome pick. But then he went on to pick the Weird Al version, and that got a huge thumbs down. And he says, John, you're wrong again.
Churning lots of butter.
Keep up the awesome podcast. So thank you, HM, for the kind words that you had for everybody but me.
Oh, I hope we get more.
Yeah, so if you...
Good, bad, ugly, just...
If you'd like us to read your kind words, takeontheworld411@gmail.com. So now we'll go back to the birth of the nation.
The boyfriend... This wasn't the boyf of the nation.
This is just after the birth of the nation.
Yeah, but it wasn't the boyf of the nation.
The boyf. So, you would know what we're talking about, folks. Rebellion. Now, I found most of what I found.
Wait, hold on. Let me preface this by Mike had no clue what the fuck this topic was.
No, I didn't.
Mr. America.
Sorry.
The founding father, Michael.
Yeah. I signed right next
Forgot he was fucking there.
I forgot. I signed right next to John Hancock.
John Coxmall.
So the Whiskey Rebellion happened.
You never told the folks what it was.
Well, we're going to get to it.
Our topic is
the Whiskey Rebellion. I said that like 5 times.
Oh, all right. I just don't listen.
I know you don't. I think it's the new surroundings. You're confused.
Yeah, we're off. Like I'm okay.
So, the American Revolution was a huge financial strain on all the individual states, and a lot of the states had a lot of debt. So the smaller states without ports, they couldn't tax incoming products because they didn't have the ports. So most of their tax revenue came from tariffs on things being brought from outside the country in. So the war ended in 1783, and the following years saw the Constitution written and ratified at 1787 to 1789. And in 1790, the Treasury Secretary, Alexander Hamilton, began to push for, he wanted financial solvency for the United States as a whole. So he wanted to take over all the debt from all the individual states. And if you take over the debt, you got to pay for it somehow. He wanted to put an excise tax on whiskey to prevent further financial difficulty for the country as a whole. Some of the smaller states were in financial peril.
Sound kind of familiar?
Right. That's my next point there. I thought it was very odd and ironic that one of the reasons for the Revolutionary War was excessive taxes being put on everything.
Yeah.
And it took them just 2 years. 2 years to the month to start taxing shit here.
Now, well, if you look now versus back then, how many taxes there are?
Right.
You had a list. Like, how many fucking taxes do we pay every year?
Oh, it's ridiculous.
The right to work tax, the right to breathe air tax, the right to porn tax.
There's a
blah 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 blah. I don't know. The right to eat ham salad.
There's tax on porn?
Probably.
Only if you pay for
it. the right on kettle fried chips. Fuck you, big government.
So, and that's a lot of people were opposed to this because they saw our government started to do what they were fighting against to begin with. And I know there's a difference between the taxes that Great Britain put on the colonists and this tax. But to me,
there was not only that. Like, they were,
to me, there's a tax that
burn down shit. Like, oh, you don't want to pay your taxes? We're going to burn down the whole fucking colony.
Yeah. So when I was doing my research, now most of what I researched has to do with our great state of Pennsylvania, our Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I guess we were highly involved in this.
Yes, yeah. Almost all the violence happened here, but there was also a Kentucky whiskey rebellion. But it was, in retrospect to this, was very peaceful. And
was that the same year?
Well, Kentucky was not a state at the time; they were part of Virginia. But before the end of this whole thing ended up, Kentucky had become a state, and there were some shenanigans going on. Let's just say.
So we'll say what? Yeah, because no, I'm getting that mixed up with the Civil War. So how many states were actually states?
13.
Okay.
The 13 original colonies were 13 original states. But Delaware was the first, Pennsylvania was the second.
Yeah.
So, the president was George Washington. And, people say,
oh, I like that. That's delicious.
You do? Is that your first taste?
Yeah.
That's
like a piece of candy, bro.
It is. It's like a Werther's Original.
Oh. You're old when you like Werther's Originals.
No. We like Werther's Originals. We both like them.
Fuck yeah.
Because Marty liked them.
No, I liked them before that.
Marty would always offer me a Werther's.
Yes. It's old people candy.
I love
That's like when you go in your grandma's jar on the light stand, and there's a fishing hook in there from old dead grandpa, and like some nasty mint, and then there's a Werther's Original.
My grandmother used to have those cream caramel squares.
Oh, okay.
All the time. No matter how many times I took them, it was still full.
Do you like the cowtails?
I do.
You can't get those. I think there's only in Pennsylvania.
I don't know. I like those though.
My buddy from Canada would come down.
Yeah.
And he would always we met at that like Sheets or whatever. And he would always buy like a handful of those. I was like, "What the fuck are those?" He's like, "Oh, the fucking cowtails are so great."
Are they taxed?
No, because he would come over the border. Like,
yeah, I'm just saying. That's not part of the story.
Anyways.
So, everybody comments on how nasty politics are now. But it's always been nasty. Alexander Hamilton did not like George Washington and his policies. They were at odds all the time. So, George Washington was opposed to this whiskey tax. He was opposed to the mere suggestion of it. So what Washington did is he traveled through Virginia and Pennsylvania, and he spoke to the citizens about their views. and basically, he spoke to the local government officials, and they were all enthusiastic about the idea. So Washington took it back to Congress, even though he was not in favor of it, and Congress passed the bill in 1791. But here's the thing. When they passed this, the larger producers paid 6 cents per gallon. Not 6 cents per gallon for what they made.
Flat rate.
6 cents per gallon on what their capacity to make was. So if their brewery or their distillery could make any spirit, they could make, just say 5,000 gallons a year.
Wait, let me ask you this.
They were charged 6 cents per 5,000 gallons, whether they made 5,000 or not.
You said spirits.
It was not just whiskey.
So it was all spirits.
It was all distilled spirits.
Okay.
They just called it the Whiskey Rebellion,
right?
Because Western Pennsylvania, where most of the violence happened, it was a large congregation of smaller producers who would have to pay 9 cents per gallon in taxes. Now, the farmers themselves took issue because a lot of the farmers owned their own distilleries, because it was very hard to transport grain any distance. You'd get rats in it, it would rot. So what they would do is they would distill their grain into a spirit, whiskey, and they would use that to trade and barter for the stuff they needed for their farm.
Right.
They needed seed. Here's a case of whiskey, and that's how they did it. So it was their livelihood. Where the bigger distillers in the eastern part of Pennsylvania, they could export it to the port because you had the Port of Philadelphia. They could export it out through that, and they had a larger distribution. And their sole thing wasn't farming; it was distilling.
Right.
Where the eastern part of the
so
western
they kind of
part,
got a pass.
well, they were treated very, and they could get a cheaper rate.
Do you think they were maybe wasn't said, but they also because of that they were given maybe government officials like,
It was said.
It was here's a couple crates of whiskey.
There was kickback money. There was one of the ways that they were paying for this debt was through bonds, and richer people would go to poorer people and say, "Hey, we'll buy your bonds pennies on a dollar," and they would hold on to them because they could afford to hold on to them. And they would wait till the bond matured, and they would get the full price out of the bond, and they were
getting this guy out of debt.
Right. So they were making themselves even more millionaires, and so a lot of people knew this, and there was a lot of bad blood. So the whole thing was a failure from the start.
Yeah, I can see why. That's fucked up.
Right.
You basically squashing the small guy.
Well, most of the producers just refused to pay the tax.
Yeah.
I'm not paying it.
That's awesome.
I'm not going to do it. So they hired people, excise officers, to go out and collect these taxes. And they were often intimidated by threats of violence. It was really...
This is my favorite part.
It was really inevitable that it was going to happen, that there was going to be some violence. And September 11th...
Yeah. Really? September 11th?
September 11th.
Wow, that's weird.
1791, it happened. An excise officer, Robert Johnson, was riding through his collection route in western Pennsylvania. He was surrounded by 11 men dressed as women. Really? So it was John. Okay, all right, John on a Saturday night was out.
Yeah, I could have been there. Hey, I misunderstood the assignment. I'll claw his eyes out.
So Robert Johnson was stripped naked by the mob, tarred, feathered, and they abandoned him in the forest. Now, I think they tied him to a tree.
Now, tarring and feathering was no joke. That was like...
Oh, it's brutal.
Like, the tar would, like, burn your skin, wouldn't it?
Right.
When you...
Pitch.
Pitch. Yeah. Tar is not cold when you pour it on somebody.
So, no. And they stole his horse. So Johnson recognized two of these people that did this, even though they were dressed as women, which really that's not very odd today. Dude, I just sidebar. So Johnson recognized two of the men in the mob, and he filed a complaint. So they issued arrest warrants for him.
Could you imagine? These guys were dressed as women, and they raped me and tarred and feathered me. Okay, Johnson. Yeah, you didn't like it. For the third time that happened, we'll file that.
That's the fifth time this week.
Yeah.
So,
surprised they didn't just fucking kill him and bury him.
So they got a cattle drover. You ever hear that term?
No.
I just watched a movie in Australia. It was based in Australia.
You watched it in Australia?
Nope. I watched it here. It was based in Australia. And the guy was a cattle drover. That's the first time I heard that term when I was watching that movie. But it's someone who drives cattle for a living. Anyway, a cattle drover named John Connor. And that's not Sarah Connor's son.
Sarah Connor? Yes.
Come with me if you want to live. Was sent to issue these warrants.
Come with me if you want to film a porn. What?
He suffered the same fate as Johnson. He was tied to a tree for 5 hours before he was found after he was tarred and feathered.
So this is a second guy.
Yes. As a result, Johnson resigned his post, fearing further violence. So there were several other incidents over the next few years. In 1793, the home of a Pennsylvania excise officer, Benjamin Wells, was broken into by a mob of people. They forced their way in. They assaulted his wife and his children. I don't know, it was like a couple weeks later, they came back, they broke in again. There were 6 men in disguises. He was home. They stole his account books at gunpoint and demanded he resign his post. I mean, like, that's...
So wait, that's
They're beating up the tax guy.
Okay, so all right, yes, the tax guy that got his house robbed.
Yeah, twice.
So they're like, man, we ain't fucking around, man.
Bitches be crazy, man. So, blah, blah, blah.
Would you want me to take over from here, man?
Good. Our cancel culture episode just dropped.
So, citizens of Western Pennsylvania felt unrepresented in Congress and put together their own assembly with 3 to 5 representatives per county. Some of the more radical members wanted and pushed for open rebellion.
Yeah, they wanted violence.
So this is like 2 years after the revolution. You're fucking with us again. We're gonna have an insurrection.
This is 93. Yeah,
Okay,
1793.
So, 4, 5, 6, 7 years later.
Yeah. So this has been going on for a while. People just refusing to pay the taxes.
Yeah, no, I didn't know this lasted that long.
They're beating up. What the explosion happens in the next 2 years.
The more moderate members, like Hugh Henry Breckinridge and the future Secretary of U.S. Treasury Albert Gallatin, wanted conciliatory measures.
Yeah, they wanted to negotiate. The other people look like fuck this. We're not paying this shit anymore. But they put together a delegation and sent them to Philadelphia, because Philadelphia was capital at the time.
Yeah. In the summer of 1794, Federal Marshal David Lennox began serving writs. That was a writ.
It's like a warrant.
A warrant. Began serving warrants to 60 distilleries in Western PA who had not paid the tax. On July, Lennox acquired the help of a wealthy landowner and tax collector as a guide through Allegheny County. On the 15th of July, they tried to serve as summons to William Miller, who promptly refused. Good man.
Fuck you, I ain't paying.
Good man. And argument ensued, and Lennox and Neville went to leave, but were faced by an angry mob again, armed with pitchforks and muskets, and possibly drunk. No,
those fucking
possibly
bastards.
Drunk
in Western PA.
Yeah, the mob had been told that federal agents were dragged. The mob had been told that federal agents were
they were dragging people away from their homes.
dragging people away from their homes.
So they confronted them.
So they confronted Lennox and Neville. When the crowd found out this was untrue, they allowed to pass, however. There were shots fired, and they rode away, but no one was injured. So it's all a little fucking...
Someone shot a blast over their head, said, hey, don't come back.
Yeah.
So
trying to scare them.
Now this next part, another sidebar. Why do all of these places, people, have home... Why do they name their homesteads?
I don't know.
Because like when
I guess that's what you do when you're rich.
When we were doing a sniper episode, his homestead was called something. I forget what it was.
Who?
Hinson.
Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck, yeah.
It wasn't like Hinson Homestead. It was like...
Maybe you had to.
Chucklebutt Land.
Maybe, like, I would imagine, like, you go out to get a homestead and you mark your territory, and this is my fucking homestead.
Like Deb's coworker called this the compound.
Yeah. So, like, I would imagine, like, you put, like, signs up, no trespassing, like, on the name. I mean, that's just how, I don't know.
So Neville. His home was called Brower Hill.
Bower Hill. I think that's just what rich people do.
That could be.
This is Penis Extension Ridge.
So now we're in July.
July, very hot. I don't know if you've ever been to Pennsylvania. Sweltering, musty,
and
humid. Fucking humid.
Not humid like Saipan humid.
No, it's pretty fucking humid, though.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So a crowd of angry men, including some who had been served summons the previous day, told Lennox he had to come with them because there were threats on his life. And of course, they didn't believe him, and they were told to leave the property. They, of course, refused. And Neville grabbed a gun and shot at the crowd, killing Oliver Miller, who was kind of the leader of the mob. In response, the mob shot back. So Neville went back into the house and sounded a signal. They said a signal horn, calling his slaves to come and attack the crowd with firearms. 6 members of the mob were wounded before they fled with Miller's body. Now, then they went and they had they say they had a meeting, but I with one of the things I listened to, said that they had a funeral and laid him to rest.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next day they went back with a group of 700 marching to drums, and they gathered at Bower Hill.
That would get your attention.
Well, in the meantime, Milli Vanilli got help from Major James Kirkpatrick and 9 other soldiers. They came to the property to defend it. They told the mob Milli Vanilli wasn't there. They were off singing someplace. And Kirkpatrick had helped Neville escape the house, and he was hiding in a ravine just off the property.
7 guys versus 700.
Right.
I'd be like, fuck you, motherfucker. I'm going to burn your house down. I'm going to find this bastard. I'm going to slit his throat.
So the mob demanded that the soldiers surrender. They didn't, of course. And the mob set fire to the barn and the slave dwellings. The women were allowed to flee in safety. That's so kind of them. And then after they were gone, they opened fire in the house. There was an hour of gunfighting. Now this leader, the new leader of the mob, he got killed, James McFarland. The mob became enraged and set fire to the other buildings, and now they had no choice but the soldiers surrendered, and Bower Hill was burnt to the ground. So less than a week later, the mob met with local leaders and warned them that President Washington would send a militia to strike them down, and they had to strike first. Wealthy landowner David Bradford, along with several other men, attacked the mail carrier, discovering letters from Pittsburgh expressing disapproval over the attack on Bower Hill. I don't know how many letters were sent.
3.
Did it say 3?
No.
You're a dick. But
it was 4. Sorry.
Bradford used those letters to gin up support for an attack.
Yeah, I'm going to gin up support. Y'all idiots.
Y'all best come and attack Pittsburgh with me.
We going to gin up support. I'm going to gin up the nerve to talk to that girl. Why don't you gin me up there, Michael?
So he was trying to gin up support for an attack on Pittsburgh, inciting 7,000 men to show up at Braddock Fields, just east of the city. Pittsburgh sent a delegation and announced that they had kicked the writers of the letters out of Pittsburgh. They're no longer there, and offered several barrels of whiskey because they feared violence.
Wait, so the people are trying to get the whiskey tax from them. They're like, wait a minute. Don't kill us. Here's some more whiskey. Like, motherfucker, we brew this shit.
Go drink.
Crap.
Go drink. So, everything pointed to these rebels wanting to ignite conflict.
Here's some of the whiskey we stole from you. Here, you can have it back.
Yeah. And there was unrest in other parts of the country. Now, this is where the area that is now Kentucky, they started getting. There was similar incidents, but nothing to this. Nobody was killed there. There was very little violence. It was very peaceful. When they were told to pack their shit and go home. They packed their shit and went home. But there was a lot of vocal opposition to these laws there.
Because Pennsylvania does it right.
You don't step on our shit. Don't try to take no booze from us. So Hamilton wanted to deploy troops to Pittsburgh. Washington sent a peace envoy instead. That envoy failed. So Washington met with his cabinet and presented evidence of violence to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court Justice James Wilson ruled military response was justified under the Militias Act of 1792. Washington used emergency power to assemble more than 12,000 men from surrounding states and eastern Pennsylvania to use as a federal militia. Now, they took state militias from Virginia, Pennsylvania, I think New York.
I would love to see that.
They put them all together and made a federal force.
Charging with like 12,000 troops behind them.
Well, this is the first and only time.
Like, any guys know where I can get some whiskey around here?
This is the first and only time that the President of the United States led men into battle.
That's fucking badass. Can you imagine Biden leading people into battle now? Now listen up, folks. Where the hell are we?
You know the thing.
Yeah. Where's Corn Pop? Get up here! Get your chain, start whipping around.
So I don't know if there was an open fight, but Washington met with the rebels, who assured them that the militia was not. You don't need to do that, and order was restored.
Washington. I mean, I'm sure Washington would have fucked you up.
Yeah.
Like, dude. He's like, I don't give a shit. Just let me get a couple crates of whiskey. I'll leave you alone.
Yeah. So he said, he goes, look, okay, we don't have to fight, but we are going to, the military is going to come there anyway.
He probably saw it was bullshit and was like, we just went through this. This is exactly what I fought for.
Yeah. I end up way up there.
I don't know what you did.
Okay. So they marched that well-armed militia into western Pennsylvania, and it was met with angry citizens, but there was very little violence. When the rebel army didn't appear, the militia rounded up. So we just started grabbing people, and the rebel instigators who had started this whole thing already took off. And the militia prisoners weren't even involved in a rebellion, supposedly. They were marched to Philadelphia to stand trial.
Wait, doesn't that sound familiar? This is like exactly what's going on today. Like, there weren't like the insurrection of the Capitol, but they sit like with all the like the pallets of bricks placed there, and they're saying like the people that charged the Capitol were mostly Antifa. What are you like? What? We try not to go to politics, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like history loves to repeat itself
all the time.
So anyway, I digress. Go ahead, Michael.
They stood trial. Only 2 of them were found guilty of treason, and both of them were pardoned by Washington.
My man.
He marches them from Pittsburgh to Philly, makes them stand trial for treason. Only 2 of them are found guilty, and he goes, "Okay, go back to work. Go drink some of your whiskey."
Well, maybe it was s'mores whiskey. He's like, "God damn, son,
that is some good whiskey.
Just mail me some every year.
You keep on getting on what you're getting on." So,
we getting click happy over there. Like all over the screen. I thought we were done. I saw the blue lines. I'm like, oh, we're done already?
No. There's the federal response to the Whiskey Rebellion was widely believed a critical test of federal authority. And that's everything, almost every video I watched and every place I went, they said that this was a huge test of what the federal government would be allowed to do. And again, what you said, it reflects into today.
Absolutely.
What you allow
Yep.
The federal government to do is what they're going to do, and they will never give that power back to you, the people.
Nope.
If the power belongs to the people, they will try to take as much as they can until people say stop.
Yep.
And then they'll stop only for a little bit, and then they'll try to take some more again. And that's how you get to where we're at today. We're in a face diaper every place you go. Even your microphone's wearing a face diaper.
Face diaper. A poor Mike. You know, I mean, it's like I said. I just said it. The history loves to repeat itself, and I think honestly, people are fucking sick and tired of it.
Some people are.
Like you look. I'm not even going to go there. Let's just keep going. That's a story.
So the whiskey tax that inspired this rebellion stayed in effect until 1802, under the leadership of President Thomas Jefferson and the Republican Party, which
Tommy Jeffy,
which, like many citizens, opposed Hamilton's Federalist tax policies. The tax was repealed after continuing to be almost impossible to collect.
Now, Tommy Jeffy didn't get along with George.
No, none of them got along.
They're all probably backstabbing sons of bitches.
They were. See, during this whole thing, Alexander Hamilton went and wrote. He penned like Thomas Paine. Like they didn't write a book. They wrote a paper, and they published this paper or a pamphlet. Well, he under a pen name, he published a pamphlet basically shit talking Washington and how we needed this tax and this and blah 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 to try to gain support for his tax.
Right.
Like, oh look, this guy here, he agrees with me. But it was you who wrote it. Yeah, so like it is some slimy shit. Just as slimy as politics today.
Who was the dude that was the backstabber? He was where they found him.
Benedict Arnold?
Thank you. That was right around the same time too, wasn't it?
Benedict Arnold was during the Revolutionary War.
Yeah. God, what I wouldn't have to give to just like time travel back there. Hold on. Where the fuck's Elvis?
Oh, Elvis is still here, but Elvis is in the past.
Oh!
So he's hanging out in the TARDIS.
If I jump through that door,
yep,
would I travel back to the Revolutionary War?
Yes.
I probably died in like 5 minutes. I probably get blown up with a fucking mortar or something. Like, God damn it, that's not what I wanted! I'm holding a musket and like, son of a bitch!
You would dive through, stand up, and enjoy the war.
I just start over and I come back here, but didn't work out.
I got blown up.
I got blown up, Mikey.
Well, at least you got blown.
I got tarred and feather mob, angry mob dressed as women. And I liked it. Is it bad that I got a chubby?
So this is like, they said what happened in Kentucky was nowhere near as violent as this. And this was, like...
I don't necessarily think this was that violent.
It wasn't that violent. A couple of people got killed. And there were some threats and intimidation. And tarred and feather is no joke. But all in all, compared to what you see now, that was a picnic.
Well, good for them. They stood up for themselves. Like, they fought back.
Yeah. Now, there are excise taxes on booze and beer and all that stuff now. And
I just think, like, what if we fought back nowadays? Like,
I listened to one podcast about this. It wasn't really, I think it was a podcast, but it was just a YouTube video. And the guy says, well, not many people know this, but I own a distillery. And these taxes are still in effect today. Well, they're not. They're not the same taxes. There are taxes similar that are in effect now, but they're not the same taxes.
Right. There wasn't some guy coming on horseback to your house, like, to take all your shit.
Right. These people...
Take your livelihood.
Stood up and said, we're not paying that shit. And there was a whole lot of shenanigans in the meantime, but from where we started at 1790, so for 12 years, this shit went on.
Wow, 1802. You know what? I think we should do like more history shit like this. I really like that.
Well, I like actually this period of history, And I like it simply because people think that politics are so nasty now.
Yeah.
And
these are the guys that invented this shit.
They invented nasty. And backstabbing and like.
No, these guys would go out to a fucking duel if they didn't agree with each other.
But Aaron Burr.
What? What? Take 12 steps that way, motherfucker. I'll take 12 steps this way.
As long as I can bring my 365 SAS, I'm good.
As long as I can bring my shotgun.
But yeah, this was interesting. It was a topic that I didn't know, so I have fun researching it because I like learning stuff.
Well, it's not like a subject that goes on, and like, you know, there's only so much information about it, and what you get is what happened.
Right.
There's nothing left for like, well, you know, like most of the murder shit that we do. Well, was that guy guilty, or what happened to that body, and maybe he wasn't guilty. You know, it's just a piece of history you can tell, and there it is. I think we should burn the history books because this happened, and get rid of it because that's the norm that they're doing now.
But just burning down everything and.
So there was George Washington was a white guy, so we'll just tear his statue down because he was a racist. Well, this happened too, so we should want to just never tell this again.
I'm not an advocate of that.
You might want to delete that from the file.
No. I'm an advocate of...
You know what I'm trying to say, though?
Yeah, I'm an advocate of learning from history.
I'm fucking pissed off. Like, just because it happened doesn't mean you should erase it from history. That's what
Are you going to throw your headphones?
No.
Okay.
That was the old me.
Okay.
I'm going to throw my headphones. God damn it! Shove the mic away.
Yeah, I remember. I was there, remember?
I didn't think it happened more than once. Anyways.
So. That is the Great American Whiskey Rebellion.
And that was some great American whiskey that we drank.
Yes, it was. I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it.
I did.
We took on the world. So now, you go take on the world.
Hold on, stop. Welcome back to the Shit Show 2.0.
Okay, Boomer.
Damn millennials. Wow.
Did not know that.
Even flirters who are obviously mentally ill. Oh, this is gonna go downhill real quick.